Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Lee Cantor with Stone Payton, another episode of GSU ENI Radio, broadcasting live from Georgia State University's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute. Stone.
Hey, this is going to be fun. We've got two seasoned veterans, two folks that we are welcoming back to the Business RadioX microphone. First up in this episode, please join me in welcoming to the show founder and CEO with Beyond the Classroom, Miss Baiyina Jihad. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We are doing good. Well, update us on Beyond the Classroom. What do you got going on?
Well, last time I was here, I was an educator. I was in the classroom and doing Beyond the Classroom.
I remember.
This time I transitioned. So I am officially out of the classroom and I am a full-time entrepreneur. And
then you're involved with the Main Street Entrepreneurship Seed Fund?
Yes. So
how'd that go?
It went well. I'm so happy. I applied and I'm glad I made it. And so I'm super excited to continue growing my business and growing myself as an entrepreneur and a founder.
Well, tell us about the Main Street Entrepreneurship Seed Fund. How does that work and how'd you get involved and what'd you get for being part of that?
So I am a GSU alum. So you had to be an alum or a current student. I'm a GSU alum. I graduated in 2014. And so after, basically you had to be a diverse founder, so a woman or a person of color or person of color. So you had to apply, and once you got it, you had two little pathways. So one will be a startup and the other one is just the idea stage. Because Beyond the Classroom is going on for a year, we're part of the startup phase. And so we received $10,000.
$10,000. How did it feel to get that check?
Great. It was, amazing. So we can continue growing and continue doing things and taking risks without having limitations on us.
Now, how'd you use the money?
So we're going to use it on expansion. So basically acquiring more customers, doing a little bit more customer discovery, marketing, still adding up some things that we probably need to do just to continue growing. But overall, it's going to be spent on growth.
And then what have you guys accomplished so far?
So far, we served over 75 students. In their second through fourth grade. Mm-hmm. And we were able to build partnership, and we're actually launching our Fall into Literacy campaign starting today. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, right now we're really just building partnerships and acquiring more customers from after school programs and schools.
Now, has there been any surprises or has this gone according to plan?
Of course. It went according to plan. No surprises at all. Definitely surprises. Like I said, I'm transitioning from an educator to an entrepreneur. So it's a lot of gaps that I have to fill. And I'm so super excited to be a part of the Main Street Seed Fund, just because I believe it's going to help me fulfill those knowledge gaps by learning from the best.
Because it's not just the money, right? It's the contacts and the education and the networking and things like that.
Exactly. The advisors, the networking, and having an accountable partner, having somebody basically making sure that you do what you say you going to do.
So now, how have you found the advisors? Have they been helpful? Have you gotten good advice?
Well, we haven't started yet. I know I talked to one, and that was just the beginning of it, just to tell him overall what I was going to do with the money and what's my goal for the program. And so he gave me a lot of like great ideas on like where we can start. But yeah, it's been amazing so far. I'm excited I'm looking forward to talking to more people and more advisors.
And then, what's your dream of dreams? How does the story end for you?
Really, to just expand. Literacy is it's not just a state issue, it's a national and global problem. So being able to really expand and impact lives, not only in the United States, but abroad. So I'm super excited about that.
And then you've been featured in a lot of places because this is starting to catch on. You're getting some traction, huh?
Yes. I was featured in Hyperpotamus. I was featured in Fast Company. I am waiting for my announcement to be featured in Pearson. So I am definitely gaining some traction, which is really great.
So what got you on this train in the first place? I mean, there you were minding your own business. You got you a good job. You were meant to educate. You're in the general arena you're supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know, you went berserk. You went crazy. What happened? Was there like some sort of catalytic event that just kind of thrust you into this whole new endeavor?
Overall, I would just say it was my experience as an educator. Being in my placement. So I went through Teach for America and I was in a placement school. And I was there for 4 years.
What's a placement school?
So basically Teach for America placed you in a school to teach for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I decided to extend it. So I stayed in my school for 4 years.
In that same school?
In the same school. So I love the community. I just noticed a huge problem with like students entering my classroom and my other colleagues' classroom in 3rd grade. Reading below grade level. And then after
way below grade level?
Like first, so 68% of 3rd graders read at 1st or 2nd grade level.
And then once you start getting behind at that young age, it's hard to catch up, right?
You have to have intentional and intense sessions that target your needs. And so for me, talking to my colleagues and talking to just overall educators, I felt like it was just something that was common. And so being Baiyina, the let's solve problems, I was like, I think I can do this. I think I can create a service that is very personalized to the student needs, and we'll be able to advance their skills faster than just a normal classroom setting.
And then do you work with other teachers? Are they the ones executing kind of this curriculum to kind of accelerate the learning for some of these young kids?
Yeah, so we hire literacy coaches, we call them, and they're certified educators. We hire the top-notch educators who have skills in reading. And so we hired them, and they actually implement it. So they connect with the students virtually.
So it happens like through like video conference or
exactly.
So they don't have to be face to face in person, right?
Yeah.
So that way you can reach people all over the place.
Exactly. So they connect on Zoom, a video conferencing platform.
And then do you remember that first child that you were able to impact and the light bulb moment goes off?
Yes. My first student, his name is Markel, and he came to my classroom in the middle of 3rd grade reading on a kindergarten level. And he was so passionate.
So what does that mean? Like when you're saying levels, like give me an example of on 3rd grade, what are some of the things they could, like words they can read? And then what was he doing?
Okay. So in 3rd grade, typically you read over 150 words per minute. You basically is reading chapter books. You're reading books that have like tier 3 vocabulary words. So like,
where is like the Dr. Seuss books? Like, are they reading Dr. Seuss books
Dr.
or
Seuss
farther?
Books is like kindergarten.
That's kindergarten.
That's like kindergarten.
So they're reading kind of like Harry Potter?
So intro to Harry Potter. Let's say Dogman. Have you heard of Dogman?
No.
You may not. So they're reading So Harry Potter will be like a 4th grade, 5th grade book. So think of a chapter book that's a little bit more.
So a little below that, but it's still in the neighborhood of that.
Still in the neighborhood of that. Yeah, right. Definitely.
But not like Hop on Pop.
No. And so this kid was reading Dr. Seuss, but struggling to read Dr. Seuss books.
In 3rd grade. While the other kids are almost ready for Harry Potter.
Exactly.
They're barely reading Dr. Seuss.
Exactly.
So that's a big difference.
That was a big warning sign.
Because Dr. Seuss only has like 50 words, just repeated over and over again.
Exactly. That student definitely showed me like I needed to do something to help him and support him.
Like fast.
And so that definitely put a spark on me to like, okay, let's create something. Let's make it intentional. So I started having sessions with him one-on-one, basically doing everything that we're doing now, but in person. And he may grow. So he didn't go to, at the end of 3rd grade, he didn't reach third grade reading level, but he was able to go for middle of first grade level. So he definitely made growth.
Right. And he improved quickly. And his confidence probably got better.
Oh my gosh.
And then now he probably likes reading. And before he didn't want to read because he was falling behind and it seemed too hard and impossible.
Exactly. A lot of students, unfortunately, the confidence is one of them. So if they're reading behind, they know they read behind. They know they're reading.
Right. Because their peers are like blowing by them and they're like, huh? They're like, that's stupid. And then they just. Right.
So my service beyond the classroom is not just academic growth, it's social growth. So we want you to build confidence. We want you to be confident in doing it. We want you to be able to feel like I can tackle this regardless if I can read on level or not, but I have the skills and strategies and tools to be able to keep on persevering.
And if you fix this, you fixed them for life.
Exactly.
Right? And now they can get good jobs. The impact is tremendous if you can catch this early and solve the problem early.
Yeah, we're trying to grow real lifelong readers. We want you, reading is a part of everything. So if you can't read, your pathway, your trajectory for success,
what are you going to do on the internet? You're going to watch videos?
Even simpler. Applications, even like documents.
Right.
Anything. It takes reading to do any and everything. Yeah.
And then recruiting for teachers, how does that work? And where you stand in that front?
So we started actually just my network and like Facebook. We send out ads basically saying, hey, we're looking for teachers who are interested in supporting kids and making a little side money.
I bet they're embracing the heck out of it. No, I remember after our first interview, I traveled back to Pensacola not long after that, and I mentioned it to my mom, who's a retired teacher, and takes great pride in the fact that she felt like one of the things she always did really well was teach kids to read. And she just thought that the work you're doing was fantastic. And I could tell, I suspect a lot of teachers are really embracing the idea.
Yeah. It's been amazing. Like, being a teacher myself, I knew that teachers, unfortunately, get paid little to none.
Not nearly enough. Yeah.
So I wanted to do something that not only impacts students, but helps teachers. Like, we love teaching. We have the knowledge. We have the skills. So why not do that instead of doing Uber, instead of doing, things that's not catered to your skills and your interests.
And the technical knowledge necessary on that side. My mom's retired and all that, but it's not that difficult, right? She could be one of these instructors, right? It's not that difficult.
It's not at all. As a teacher, no, it's not at all. As an educator, you can definitely do it.
Well, to me, I think that's her first question would be, well, what about the technology, doing it virtually? But she's on there talking to her grandkids. She's on Facebook talking to my kids every day. I'll tell you that right now.
Same thing. Just think of FaceTime, like something. Our technology is very minimal just because we know technology can be a burden, especially when we talk about access. So our technology is very minimum. All you need is a computer, an iPad. You even can do it over your phone,
Wow. So if somebody wanted to learn more, whether it's a teacher that wants to get involved or maybe a student that wants to get involved, is there a website?
Yes. So you can go on to bytc.us. You will also be able to look at activities that we have for parents to be able to just do simple bonding techniques to help them read. You can find us on Instagram at beyondtheclassroom_ATL. We are launching our Fall into Literacy campaign. We're basically giving away $150 worth of prizes. So definitely follow us and participate in our activities just to build family and relationships.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, congratulations on the momentum. Keep up the good work. Keep us posted. We're going to continue to follow this story. I love everything about it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey, stay with us. We're going to visit with a couple more guests, all right? All right, next up on GSUENI Radio this morning, we have with us the Grand Poobah, the Chief Cook and Bottle Washer with Soundcollide. Please join me in welcoming back to the Business RadioX microphone, Mr. Robert Hatcher. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
We are doing great. So tell us about Soundcollide. How are you serving folks?
Man, we're doing extremely well. I think the last time we talked, I think we were kind of in a prototype phase.
Right, you were at the very beginning.
Right. Okay, perfect. So now we finished the prototype, and our platform basically facilitates collaboration between two groups of users.
Right, that aren't in the same. They can be anywhere.
Right, and you can think of it like type A and type B, We learned like most of the relationship type user type A is usually a artist, a vocal artist, whether it's a singer or a rapper.
It's like yours is for audio, what like sharing a Google Doc would be for sharing text, or writers were writing, collaborating.
Absolutely. And then user type B is usually the producer who handles all the production,
right,
and is managing the audio files. So for us, what we've done since then is basically get it in front of these two type of users to see what are the similarities in terms of features, standard features that we need to implement, and what are the differences, and most importantly, what we don't need to spend our time trying to build. So that's
so you're listening to your customers.
Absolutely.
It's a good lesson for entrepreneurs, right?
Yes, it is.
To start there, not your great idea,
right?
Maybe what your customers will pay for and want.
100%. And it's been extremely interesting. Is, I kind of tell people, it's like right now we kind of have, it's like a Tesla with no seat belts and no AC.
Right.
Like we have the unique value proposition, but we are still missing some of those standard features. And that process was all about just understanding, okay, making sure that the standard features that we assume that we should implement isn't something different than what another user is expecting. So now we're kind of finishing up that process, and we're taking those user requirements, and now we're about to implement that into the platform before we make it live, looking at the Q1 of next year.
So now Soundcollide started out, you were in undergrad, right? And then now you're getting your MBA?
Yes.
So you haven't like said, forget about school, I'm just going to focus on this. You're like, I'm going to keep doing my school and focus on this.
Yes, it's the juggle is, I think for most of us as student entrepreneurs, is our biggest juggle is opportunity cost. You could either get a job, right, that's you work 20 or 40 hours a week, then you're probably in another 12 hours a week for class, and then another 15 hours a week studying outside of class.
Right.
The risk of what I've taken is really just try to be as lean as possible. And by going to school, so I'm in the MBA Flex program, and the great part about that is I get to kind of customize my concentration. Mm-hmm. So my career path for my concentration is analytics consulting. So it's a lot of data structure and algorithms, data analytics for database management. It's a lot of hands-on to what I'm doing with Soundcollide in terms of some of the technologies and processes.
Right, so it complements your Soundcollide work.
100%. I get to learn the fundamentals in class, and then I get to go apply it.
Right.
In Soundcollide.
And then are you able to leverage some of the professors and their skills to help you? So it's like free consulting.
Absolutely. My teacher that I'm actually meeting up with as soon as we leave here, he's like a PhD in computer science, Google Scholars, machine learning, like everything out the wazoo.
And you're like, well, that might be useful to know this person.
100%.
Open some doors.
100%. I mean, he helps me out a whole lot. So going back to your point in terms of using school and leveraging the professors and leveraging that time, really gives me the opportunity to make sure I'm building something the correct way.
And also by using school as the lever, he's going to talk to you and he has to help you because you're the student, right?
Right.
As opposed to if you were, your own business outside of the school, you're asking him now for a favor to come and spend time with you.
Right.
Because now he's got to.
Right.
So that works even better.
100%.
So now you're involved with the Main Street Fund, but you're also involved with It Takes a Village. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
It Takes a Village, and I actually think I was part of the first cohort.
And that's at Tech Village.
Yep, Atlanta Tech Village, incredible place. It was the first time they wanted to do a diversity program for people of color and women to get more diversity into the building, and that's been amazing in terms of, sometimes, because I've been a part of a lot of programs or accelerators, et cetera, and sometimes you get into these places and you kind of question, like, is this something that's just good for face value, or, are they really committed?
Right.
And David Lightburn, Karen, like the people that run the program, Justin, they're extremely committed. And
they live in it there. That's not pretend.
100%. And that's it, to know people who've built companies and have this incredible network that they can plug you in, and they're very proactive in helping you and connecting you with the right person. And because it's also, the fun part is because it's Atlanta Tech Village and there's so many startups that's on the edge of innovation, if you're doing something that may correlate with somebody else that's in the building, they're right there to make the connection for you.
Right. And then you can't dismiss the value of that, because that's those kind of collisions and those kind of mashups are where really the rubber hits the road. That's 100%. What can take you to the next level.
Yep.
And have you found that? Were you able to meet some folks that maybe are part of the team, or you're thinking about recruiting as part of the team?
There's in terms of at the village, no. The team that I have now, one is like brother to me. I've known him since I was like maybe 12 years old. He handles kind of like the product manager role, and kind of manages most of the user testing. And then my other friend is like been like my big mentor in terms of developing the product. He's a data security analyst, works with like AI, works for State Farm. So he's kind of been like my mentor for like the past 7 years in terms of me becoming a developer myself.
And so you have the core team. And then what do you need right now?
I think the biggest thing for us really is user acquisition. So once we get ready to deploy the application, we've built a great network, great relationships, and then it's just proving the model where the rubber meets the road in terms of getting users, the engagement, making sure that users are staying on the platform. And it's kind of like you're either going to really sink or swim, time.
So so you have no users right now, or you have some people?
So the application, we built the application first where we would have to manually send you the application. So you can try it out, but there was no user login. There was no dashboard. There was no way for you to save your user account information.
Right.
So that's the part that we're building now. And then all the users, we've ran tests for maybe over 200 users. So now we're going to circle back and say, hey, the project that you guys were working on now, you can save it and store it. And that's really was the bottleneck that was keeping us from growing, because there was no place on the platform for the users to actually create an account. Because
like, say you and I are musicians and we want to work together, and you're in California and I'm in New York, I can go to a portal and then we'll have like a Google Doc file that we're going to share.
Right.
And then you can, play your music and I can play my music kind of in real time.
Yep.
And it's appearing there in the portal. That's the goal, right?
Yep.
And then you had the prototype that allowed to do it manually, but you couldn't kind of.
Yep. It was like having the Google Doc, but having no place to save it.
Right. So that was the missing link.
Right.
So now, how close are you to saving it?
Now we should be done by the end of December.
Okay, by the end of the year,
yep,
it should be kind of, now you can test this in the wild for real.
Right. And then users can log on autonomously with all their friends and, grow.
And then how many musicians at one time can access it?
So far, I think the most that we've tested is like 7.
7. Wow. So 7 people in different places simultaneously can play.
Yep.
And then it's all in real time, no lag.
7 people, I think, up to 72 tracks.
Wow.
Until we start.
That's when you start having problems with technology.
Yep.
But with more and more kind of, I guess it's getting cheaper and cheaper to have storage and the bandwidth to do this stuff now.
100%. And there's, there's some technical wizardry that we had to imply, where the way that even browser technology with the Chrome and the way things have updated.
Does it have to be Chrome?
Right now, it only works on Chrome and Firefox. We'll build the next version, release it for Safari. But technology and the environment for technology, as you were saying, like with AWS and storage, has advanced so much that even the web sockets, in terms of your browser, the way that we can actually store information temporarily in your browser before it has to go from your browser to the database and back. There's so many new techniques that you can use to kind of really mask the experience of latency.
So there might be some buffering happening, but you don't notice it.
Right. I think it's like 0.001 something of a second. But when you finish the recording,
it's all perfect.
It syncs back up to the original alignment.
And then how do you handle the different kind of speeds that are happening in each of the 7 locations of those 7 people?
It's really kind of, so it's almost like a syncing mechanism where it's like you hear it in real time and you're responding in real time, but each
device is kind of adjusting.
Right. So when you finish saving it, it's basically his computer knows where it started the recording.
But because it's like in film, they have the little clicker, right? And that's the big sound that spikes that everybody goes, that's the beginning point.
Yep.
And so then it's similar.
Yep. It's like if we started recording, say you're the lead singer and I'm the background singer. You start singing at 3 seconds.
Right.
And then I start recording at 3.5 seconds.
Right.
Even if there's if there's a little lag in terms of the computer processing, the application knows the exact time that I started the recording. So then when we match finish, it goes back to that 3.5 instead of like a 3.5.
And it makes the adjustment. That's all happening in the background magically. That's the magic you were talking, the wizardry.
Yep.
And that's where your people with the big brains are working.
Yeah.
This is so inspiring to me. I mean, certainly for the music business, but don't you feel like there's going to be applications for our world at some point, Lee?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes beyond music. I mean, that's a great, obviously, the low-hanging fruit. That's where it goes well beyond that.
I mean, couldn't other people be participating in this conversation, like on the other side of the country, and then somehow we sync it all up together when it's time to publish?
Yep.
With this kind of stuff. So this is fun stuff.
And then, so now you went through the Main Street Fund. You're in the It Takes a Village. Are you just kind of going to all these things? You just keep applying for these programs? Like, is that your full-time job? Not your full-time, but the kind of that's just part of it.
Part of entrepreneur is raising money in any way that you can, whether it's organic, whether it's through grants, whether it's through accelerators, competitions. Obviously, raising money. So it's and especially where we are right now, because we've built so many relationships. I think what's exciting for us next year, going into next year, seeing how much money that we can generate by bootstrapping.
Right, because that way you don't have any dilution. Like you want to keep as much as possible.
And even when we start to talk to investors, at least we'll have a lot more leverage.
Right,
because then we know we have a proven business model, and the question isn't, will this startup make money? But the question is, how much will this startup make money?
Different conversation.
Different conversation. So it's that's the part that I'm really excited about it. And all these programs has really helped us, hit a milestone and grow exponentially.
Good stuff. So now, if somebody wanted to learn more, maybe get into, is it a beta now? What are you calling this phase?
Yep.
Still beta?
Still private beta. They can reach out to us at www.soundcollide.com, and we would love for them to try it out.
Right. So you want to get a waiting list of lots and lots of artists on this, right?
Yep.
And now are you working with record companies and labels and things like that to kind of bring all their people on?
We have small record labels that we kind of call like mid-size to small firms and smaller markets. What we kind of want to do is make sure that we test the consistency,
right?
With a volume group of artists, and then we're going to introduce it to them,
to the bigger players.
Yep.
And then when the time comes, we'll be the official radio network.
Absolutely.
Yes,
indeed.
We get a first look, right?
Yep.
We paid our dues.
Yes, you have.
Well, keep up the good work, man. It's such an exciting time for you, and we're just as happy as we can be for you. And we really do, all kidding aside, we want to support you in any way that we can, man.
Thank you.
Hey, stay with us. We got one more guest we're going to visit with. All right. Please join me in welcoming to the show founder and CEO with Airlift. I didn't ask him before the show how to pronounce his name, so I'm going to let him pronounce it. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's pronounced Sheehan.
That's exactly how I was going to say it. Sheehan Khan?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Perfect.
Welcome to the show, man.
Tell us about Airlift. How are you serving folks?
So Airlift is a modern fulfillment platform for e-commerce sellers. And what that means is if you're selling anything online and you're a business, you can send us your inventory and we'll store it for you. And whenever you make a sale, we'll package and ship it out. The platform allows integrations with Shopify, Amazon, and eBay, BigCommerce, and on the carrier side, we've got USPS, UPS, DHL, FedEx, all the big players.
So now, who is the like? How many products do I have to where you're the good fit? Like, do I have to have 1,000 inventory of 1,000, or if I have 50? Like, what is the right fit for you?
So our target market is really the small companies that are doing less than $1 million per year. And we call them kitchen table e-commerce stores. These are your companies that started out shipping themselves on their kitchen table in their garage. And then all of a sudden they got so overwhelmed that it's hard for them to turn around to a traditional fulfillment company or scale up a warehousing operations themselves. So,
like, what's an example of a kitchen table entrepreneur that you've worked with?
So one of our customers has a chocolate company, and they started manufacturing the chocolate in their kitchen.
Like in their home kitchen?
Yeah, in their home kitchen.
So they make chocolate.
They make chocolate.
So this was literally a kitchen table.
Yeah.
So like my wife makes chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. So these are chocolate with essentially supplements in them.
Right.
And
so it's a nutraceutical.
Well, it's there's nutrients, and there's also like CBD, if you're aware of CBD.
Yeah.
So they're kind of the first to market with this chocolate, and essentially like they started shipping it out. They started shipping it with ice and everything, and all of a sudden, like the
chocolate
sales
melts.
started. Yeah,
and especially if they were doing it in the summer, that could be a problem in some parts of the country.
Exactly. So we have a lot of experience with that cold shipping piece with them, and then they start getting all these wholesale accounts, which most of their revenue is coming from. And
so now a wholesale account, they want 100 bars, not 2.
Exactly.
So that's a different type of shipping now.
Exactly. And doing that in a small space, it just gets overwhelming. Those shipping times just get longer and longer.
Okay, so say I'm this chocolate bar company and I'm making it myself, the best of my ability. I'm running to UPS or the post office every 3 days or 2 days or a day or twice a day or whatever it is. What size am I at where I'm like, you know what, I should call these Airlift folks because this is getting to be too much?
Typically, like, we've worked with companies that just started out and it was their first run of product. We've worked with companies that have been doing it for a year or so, and then they want to jump on board and they just want the logistics taken care of. We've worked with companies that are planning a product.
So now say I have 100 bars.
Yeah.
Can I just go, here's 100 bars, ship them all out, like one at a time?
So our
would
platform,
that work?
Yeah. So for our platform, since they're a local company, typically what they would do is typically what any company would do is they would ship us their product from either straight from their manufacturers overseas or
from their kitchen.
Right? So for this specific company, they actually right now they got a kitchen up in Marietta that they manufacture the product.
So a commercial kitchen where they're able to crank out.
Correct. So
how does it get from there to you so that you can then send it out?
So our platform allows for pickups, for local pickups, and it's just like Uber. You can take whatever inventory that you have.
So how much are they sending you? 100, 1,000?
1,000,
so
500 to 1,000.
So they're sending 500 to 1,000 bars to you in like a van.
In one pickup.
Right, in a pickup.
Yeah. And
it gets to you. Now you got 1,000 of these and you got to put them in individual boxes to send out.
Exactly.
And that's your problem.
Yeah. And the pickup piece is on us as well. So like if they request a pickup, we get the notification and we go out there and pick
And then now you pick it up, you bring them to your place and then you ship them. And then it's as if this bar company shipped it, right? Like you're just the third party that's doing the labor of doing it.
Correct.
But it's like it's coming from them.
Correct.
Now, why should I do this instead of just use Amazon? Because doesn't Amazon have it warehousing as well?
Yeah, so Amazon is a great business, but Amazon is good for, so what you're referring to is fulfillment by Amazon. Fulfillment by Amazon is great for Amazon only. And the thing about Amazon is it's a great business, but it's in reality the world's biggest convenience store. If you want to build a brand, and if you want to build an ecosystem around your company, whether it's multi-channel support, selling on your own website, selling through social media, at the end of the day, shipping to Amazon is just an extra step that you're taking. Whereas if you're shipping through us, we also have that Amazon piece taken care of. So we look at them more as a partner, versus really a competitor. And what's great about Amazon is, like they're doing the same thing for third party fulfillment that they did for merchants, back 10 years ago. And now the merchant marketplace on Amazon is actually like 70 or 80% of their revenue. So they're building those internal tools to help third party fulfillment really utilize, and provide that Prime badge to their merchants that are selling on Amazon.
So now for you, is it a cost savings for working with you, or is it a just headache saving? I don't have to get into the logistic business. Is that better? Like, what's the benefit for me as the kind of the manufacturer?
Yeah, so there are a couple of pieces. Cost savings at scale, you're definitely saving a lot more money. Typically, there are a few ways, like few options that like customers could go with. First option is just keep shipping them themselves and eventually scale up that operation, right? Like getting a warehouse.
But then I got to build the infrastructure.
Exactly. Getting a warehouse, hiring people. And a good example is like back in the day when you wanted to start a tech company, you had to buy servers and you had to put it in your garage. The same thing's happening right now, with e-commerce. And they're essentially building that in their house and then eventually getting like, quote unquote server space, but like actually like a warehouse with shelving and stuff like that. Whereas, and then the like another way is to just find a traditional fulfillment company. And these are companies like that are stuck around from the mail order days, right? They're really backdated in technology, and just dealing with them is a huge hassle. There's no real inventory transparency. You don't know like real time like how much inventory you have in their warehouses, and just onboarding with them is just this huge task, like buying a house, right? You have to negotiate rates, you have to connect all your systems together, and it takes like a month. And eventually, like when you're on board, if you don't like their service, it's very hard to get out of.
All right, let's talk about me for a minute. We've talked like for a half hour. We haven't talked about me at all.
Yeah, no.
I'm the number 2 guy in a media company that is opening new studios, and we're going to be opening a lot more studios in 2020. As part of that arrangement with independent entrepreneurs in different markets, we include the Business RadioX studio kit.
And it looks like what you see here.
It looks a lot like what you see here.
Mixer, mic stands.
So is this plausible? What I'm envisioning is, instead of me doing that every time, and a lot of times this is me on a Saturday organizing all this and then figuring it all out, boxing it up, and having an intern do a little bit of stuff and then get it. I'm envisioning I reach out to my suppliers and I get, I don't know, 10, 15, 22 of these mixers you're looking at sent to you. I get 100 of these microphones. I get 50 of these mic stands. I get all that to you. We get straight on what a Business RadioX studio kit looks like. And then I'm able to somehow on your platform say, okay, I need one in Boise, and I need one in Dallas this week. And you even to the extent of maybe do you even have Business RadioX tape that we've gotten that you send the box and it's got the Business RadioX tape on it and you send it out to my new studio partner.
And that's you can do that today, right? Like, so essentially what we have is these bundling features where you can like get different in the traditional world, they call it kitting. So like essentially you're sending us, bits and pieces of your entire package into one location, and then you can like specify a bundle, and then you can assign a new SKU to that bundle, and you can actually ship that out to wherever you want. Another thing that I didn't touch on with Amazon is like if you're buying off of Amazon, you're getting it in this box, right? That with the Amazon logo in it. It's hard for you to build that brand yourself if you want a customized box, if you want like inserts, and that's something that like, you know, right now we're building the technology that you can actually put in your like whatever you want to insert as like upload that, and we can print them for you.
So it becomes, you're like kind of white labeling me. You're my shipping department.
Perfect.
As opposed to,
yeah, exactly.
I'm outsourcing this to Amazon and it's coming from Amazon.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's Amazon. This way it looks and feels like it's coming from me, and I'm getting all the credit. I'm keeping the branding. I'm not branding for Amazon.
Exactly.
And then that helps me grow my business because it has the look and feel as I'm handing them the package as opposed to,
it's like getting a gift in the mail, you know,
right.
Like it's you get excited, you know what you ordered, and you see this box, it's coming from who you ordered from, and it's beautifully packaged. You open it up and everything is there, and it looks great. And
so this is perfect for the companies that are tired of helping Amazon get bigger. That you can focus on your own brand and grow your own brand.
Oh yeah. And a lot these days, like a lot of like, you'll see like
a lot of retailers, I would think, that have a e-commerce side. Mm-hmm. It'd be better for them to go through you and keep all their branding than it is to just let people order through Amazon. I mean, let them order if they want to, but at least give them this option as well.
Yeah, of course. And also like another thing is that when Amazon, like they have the data to really like look at trends and see what's popular, and then they can turn around and build their own private label versions of your product. They did it with like, you know, Allbirds.
Yeah.
They did it with like a bunch of other companies, and
because you're doing market research for them.
Exactly.
Because they know what sells the most. They're like, wow, we can sell this for $50 less. Let's do this.
Exactly. And you scroll down on your page and you see like, you know, similar to this, and you see all your competitors, right?
Right.
So how do you really build a brand on Amazon? So that's what we help with, and we look at Amazon. Hey, that's just a different channel.
That's one channel out of many instead of the only
Exactly.
one. So now, how did you get involved with the Main Street Entrepreneurship Seed Fund?
Oh yeah, I mean, I applied. I saw the opportunity. I'm
so you're
a Georgia State alumni. And I saw the opportunity. I applied, and so far it's been great. You know, just meeting with everybody. It's just getting started, but you know, being a part of a community that everybody's like going towards like their own goal and building their companies, and everybody has similar problems. I think that's very powerful. And if me as a solo founder, I try to look for those types of communities as much as possible and try to be a part of that.
So now, how long have you had this business before you got involved with the fund?
So it started in late 2016. Started working on it in mid 2016.
But you were always in logistics and supply chain. Like, how was that your background?
Yeah. So during college, I had an e-commerce company, and essentially that's where the problem really stemmed from. And like my day to day would be just, you know, waking up, printing out labels. I would go to the storage unit where I kept a lot of products, and I would just pack boxes all day. I had really no transparency of like how much inventory I had across like either my garage, my dad's garage, or like the storage unit. And a lot of times I would just have to drive down there and rummage through things just to see like what I had. Right. So I figured there has to be a better way. I was a computer science major undergrad, and we had this project where you know, build a project and and do like a traditional software engineering thing.
So you made the
with
project your project?
Well, I actually never used any of that code, but I convinced my teammate members to like, hey, like, let's build an inventory management app, and they're like, okay, let's do it.
Why not?
But you know, like, I ended up using that for my e-commerce business, but that's where like, you know, we kind of turned around.
Kind of proved the model there, right, with your own stuff.
Yeah, and then we kind of like, and then I put it on a back burner. I kept growing my e-commerce business, but there was a point where I just couldn't grow it anymore. But
then you're like, hey, this tool might be something that I could resell to other people. This service.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I had to start from scratch, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't that robust. And there were better tools for inventory management out there. But it really set the foundation on the processes that I put in place for my e-commerce business. And okay, if we want to have another e-commerce business come and like use us for storage, how would that look like?
Right.
Right. And then we can build an application from scratch and just have that service.
So right now you have customers. This is happening right now though.
Oh yeah.
So people are using it, and so it's an ongoing concern.
Yeah. And right now it is the real issue is scalability. You know, as each company comes on board, trying to put them alongside all of these other companies and have their process very similar to everybody else's process.
It's like you said, it's like a server farm where you go in there, and in one case is one company and then another case is the other company, but it's all in the same air conditioned building with the same type of servers.
Exactly.
So that's what you're building.
Exactly.
And how much warehouse space do you have right now?
Right now we have 2 locations, and between the two, it's about 5,000 square foot.
And then it's here in Atlanta?
One's in Atlanta, the other is in Lawrenceville.
Okay, but so the metro Atlanta area. So you're really trying to serve local e-commerce companies right now?
Well, we're open to, we have the functionality for anyone.
Right, it wouldn't matter, but like at this beginning part, it's probably good to get them where they can drive to it and drop it off in their own.
And that's a huge selling point, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, like companies want their inventory in the same city.
Right, so they can see it and touch it, right? And they can drop it off.
Exactly, because it's their lifeblood, really. Right. It's a company's lifeblood, their
At
inventory.
that stage, they're kind of fragile. Yeah. So that's great. And if somebody wanted to learn more, what's the website again?
You can go to shipairlift.com.
And then they can go and they can learn more about how to get their inventory into your space.
Yep. There's a get started button, and you can sign up and we'll reach out to you and we'll get started. Good stuff. Well, Sheehan, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you. Thank you for having me. All right. This is Lee Cantor for Stone Payton. We will see you all next time on GSU ENI Radio.